for 2024. Our major projects and programs, our fund utilization, and our comparative budget utilization for the past years, plus priority items for restoration. So proceeding further, this slide just goes to show that we are in line with the Philippine Development Plan that was recently approved, the PDP for 2023 to 2028. And we in the civil service belong to the subsector goal of practice good governance and improve bureaucratic efficiency. Related to this, makita naman po natin na tuloy-tuloy pa rin po yung mission ng CSC na gawing lingkod bayani ang bawat kawani. And this is aligned with our new vision, which is to become a leader in empowering people and organizations in HR and organization development and in serving the public through streamlined and digitalized services. Ngayon po, as shown on the screen, our CSE key programs based on the PREXI, which we will be showing later, yung key programs namin is aligned with what is also demanded of us under the PREXI targets natin. And these are geared towards supporting the subsector outcomes. So basically, under the PREXI programs are the Civil Service Professionalization and Workplace Cooperation Program, the Civil Service Human Resource Governance Program, and the Administrative Justice Program. Sa next slide po, makikita natin kung ano yung highlights and major thrusts ng Civil Service Commission for 2024. Kasama na po dyan yung pag-formulate natin ng mga HR policies responsive to the current needs, particularly sa post-pandemic. Kaya nga po makikita natin na some of the recent policies issued by the CSC is yung flexible work arrangements natin. And very recently, the night shift differential law passed by Congress ay nagkapirmahan po tayo kamakailan lamang with DBM and GCG on the further enhancement of the implementation of night shift differential for government workers. We shall also continue enhancing the civil service systems and procedures for efficient public service delivery in support of the ARTA law or the RA 11032 Ease of Doing Business and Efficient Government Service Delivery Act passed by Congress also very recently. We shall continue to push for digital transformation in the Civil Service Commission as part of the thrust and alignment with the thrust of the new administration to go digital. And that includes further enabling digitalization sa regional and field offices po natin. We will continue to push for Prime HRM, especially in various locations and jurisdictions around the country kasi yung Prime HRM is our way of making sure that the HR offices are at par with standards, no, if not international standards. Then of course, ang pag-expand pa po natin ng civil service exams dahil nakikita po namin na marami po yung demand, no, malaki ang demand ng gustong kumuha ng civil service exams. Now, to do all of this, we will obviously need a budget. So ito po yung pinropose namin sa DBM. Unfortunately, sa pinropose naming Tier 1 and Tier 2 proposal, you will see that the DBM recommendation as reflected in the NEP is lower than what we proposed. In fact, ang proposal po namin was in the amount of 3,046,018,000. Ang recommended po ng DBM na nasa NEP po is nasa 2,060,256,000 lang po. More particularly, next slide, will show that nabawasan po yung budget ng personal services. Nabawasan din po yung sa capital outlay. Actually, yung sa total CSC budget po natin, nabawasan po yung budget sa aming nirecommend. So sa 2023 versus 2024, there's a bit of increase in the total budget, but as far as PS, nabawasan din po ng nabawasan po ng konti compared sa 2023. As to expense class, this is the breakdown of our pie. Personal services takes the bigger chunk. But more importantly, ang gusto ko pong ma-highlight dito sa slide na to is that if you look at the budget of the Civil Service Commission, which takes care of 1.9 million civil servants, we only take 0.036% of the total national budget. So that's 0.036% lang po. And the next slide will show how we compare to, sorry, hindi nasama sa slide na to, but we had a slide that was supposed to show how we compare to our neighbors. So I will just read it for the record. So sa budget po natin, ang budget po natin is roughly about 33 million US dollars. And that's only 0.036% of the national budget. But we take care of 1.9 million civil servants. Samantala, kung titingnan mo yung Thailand po, ang budget nila is 45 million US dollars. That's 0.05% of the national budget. Ay, ito po. And their civil servants is only 382,655. Sa Malaysia po, ang budget nila is 313 million US dollars. That's 0.43% po of their national budget. But they only take care of 1.58 million civil servants. Indonesia po is 147.3 million US dollars. Mas malaking civil servants nila, 4.2 million po. But if you do a comparison per civil servant, mas malaki pa rin po yung budget ng Indonesia. And they take their budget ng equivalent natin ng Civil Service Commission sa Indonesia takes 0.07% of the national budget. So compared to these neighbors of ours, much still needs to be done in terms of budgetary support for the civil service. But we do with what budget is given to us, and we commit, of course, to perform our mandates and achieve our Prexy targets to the best of our ability given the budgetary limitations. Next slide. So speaking of Prexy, I will run through these sets of slides very quickly. The next set of slides only will show how we assigned our MOOE budget to the Prexy targets assigned to us by DBM. Alam naman po natin na per agency, meron po mga Prexy targets yan. So for the Civil Service Commission, meron din po tayong mga Prexy targets po, katulad ng number 1 sa Civil Service HR Policy and Information Management Subprogram, may corresponding budget ng 18.502 million. You can change the slides, please. Thank you. Then we have 7 indicators under that, and with the corresponding targets, kabilang na dyan, number of users utilizing data for policy and program development of agencies. Ang target po natin dyan is 159,500 users. Sa stakeholders percentage who rate the policies as satisfactory or better, 85% po yung target natin. Number of agencies meeting maturity level 2, 3, or 4 in all HR areas, bronze, silver, or gold level award. Sa Prime HRM, 115 ang target natin. Next slide. Number of HRM systems recognized. So these are recognized na under the Prime HRM, 404 ang target. Number of agencies meeting maturity level 2. Sa Prime HRM pa rin po yan, 129. The timely updating of Government Human Resource Inventory or IGHR. Meron kasama yan sa inventory of government workers, employees, and officials. Percentage of authenticated copies. Ito yung sa Certificate of Eligibility, halimbawa. Requested records issued within the prescribed time, 100%. Next slide. Complaints resolution rate. Meron din po tayo niyan because under sa amin ang contact center ng bayan, which receives complaints from the public, and then tayo po nagre-refer at nagre-refer niyan sa iba't ibang ahensya to work on those complaints. 90% ang target natin dyan, but the referral rate is 100%. By the way, this is under the Public Assistance Sub-Program. Ang corresponding budget inassign namin dyan is 5.936 million. Next slide. Dito naman po sa Civil Service Professionalization Sub-Program, ang na-assign na budget po dyan is 23.391 million pesos. Meron pong 4 na indicators and corresponding targets, katulad ng percentage of appointments acted upon, 75%, efficiency rate in the release of the results ng mga civil service exams, pen and paper po natin. This is a new indicator, by the way, for 2024. Meron po tayong targets dyan depending on the volume of examinees. 60 days, up to 300,000 examinees, and in excess of that, every 5,000 in excess is plus 1 day. Next slide. Of course, we are also measured in the number of eligibles, increase in the pool of eligibles. Ang target natin for the year, according to Prexy, is 12,188. And the volume of examinees registered to take various civil service exams, 500,000. Again, this is a new indicator. We're very happy to say na in past civil service exams, mataas na po per year ang 300 to 400,000. But if you see for 2024, ang target po natin ay nasa 500,000 na. And we in the civil service are very confident that we will reach this new target na 500,000 kasi makikita natin later on in the later slides that even in this year, 2023, we have reached an unprecedented number of examinees that we have catered to. For the first exam for 2023 and for 2020 and for August 20, ang next exam date po natin, we're very confident that we will also hit almost the same target. Kung i-combine mo yan, it's more than 500,000. Next slide. Of course, we also do learning and development. So we are also measured on civil service capability building. We've assigned 11.357 million budget ng MOE to that sub-program. Ang indicators po natin dyan are number of agencies reporting application of learning, target 56, number of learning and development participant days, 73,752. Then on public sector unionism sub-program, we've assigned a corresponding budget there as well, and we are measured by the percentage of related disputes resolved through amicable settlement, the number of agencies with accredited public sector unions, number of accredited PSUs with CNAs. Next slide. So lahat yan may mga targets. Then finally, for the administrative justice program, we've assigned an MOE budget to that. And these are new indicators in our Prexy or new measurements that was just approved by the DBM. So it's a new articulation in the fiscal year 2024 budget. So there's the percentage of cases decided and the percentage of promulgated cases decided within 1 year from filing. So these are new targets, and so 2024 will be some sort of a baseline for these new articulations in the Prexy po namin. So overall, ang budget po namin for MOE for these items is 68.983 million for these subsector programs. Now, I'd like to share with you our budget utilization. I know that Congress, especially the Committee on Appropriations, always look at fund utilization, but I'm proud to say, Mr. Chair, that we are very, very responsible in budget utilization. As you can see, ang aming budget utilization for 2022 po ay nasa 98, ay tumama po kami sa 98.99%, almost 100% po. And hindi to pa tsamba-tsamba dahil kung makikita po natin sa next slide, every year, ganun naman po. So the slide after that. Every year, makikita natin mamaya na tumatama talaga kami sa budget utilization ng almost 100% every year. This slide shows where we are at right now compared to the 2022 budget utilization natin. So as of this moment, yung utilization namin is almost 50%, which measures well with comparing it with the 2022 budget po natin. So we commit na by the end of fiscal year 2023, we will reach the 98% level, which we have always done even before. Makikita nyo, may mga, kung i-differentiate natin yung 2022 and 2023, makikita ninyo na even if you assign to us, for example, a big capital outlay, ay agad naman po natin nagagamit. Tulad nitong nangyari sa 2022. So the next slide will show, as I mentioned, that every year since 2018, we have been very responsible in budget utilization. Siguro nga po, ang biro namin, kasi ano naman yung dahil ang budget namin ay kulang, madali po naming maubos. So kung dagdagan po ninyo, maubos pa rin namin. So the next slide naman po, we'd like to show for consideration po ng Congress the possibility of restoring some of the budget items that were lost despite the fact that we submitted it to DBM for consideration. Gaya ng sinabi ko before, nabawasan po yung nagsabit kami ng tier 1, tier 2, pero paglabas po ng net, may nabawasan po. So, unfortunately, kasama sa nabawasan yung recurring expenditures namin sa IT. So, yun po yung nasa number 1, itong ISSP, recurring expenditures. These are mostly mga subscriptions namin to softwares. Again, unfortunately, we don't know why, but it wasn't included, even if these are recurring expenses that CSC has to pay for, especially pag subscription to some digital solutions that we have in the CSC. In light of the fact that dapat nagdi-digitalize na tayo, this is obviously very important to us for the consideration po ng body ng Congress if we'd like to ask if this can be restored kasi recurring expenses naman po siya. That's item number 1. Sa item number 2, these are MOOE utilities. Unfortunately, these are utility expenses ng ating mga regions. So, alam naman po natin, may iba't ibang mga regional offices and field offices ng CSC. May mga regions na napagbigyan naman, na-approve naman po sa NEP yung kanilang mga requests. These again are MOE expenditures, no? For the regular expenditures ng regions. But there were some regions na hindi po napagbigyan. So we obviously feel for these regions who will have to suffer a cut in their MOE, it may affect also their operations, no? Kung hindi ma-restore po ang kanilang MOE ng mga regions na yan. More particularly, baka we can show the slides ng mga tinamaan na regions because some of the congresspersons here might be representatives of these regions. If I may just read for the record. Ito po. So, sa MOE restoration po na hiningi namin sa Congress, it is for and in behalf of these regions. NCR, Region 1, Region 2, Region 5, Region 7, Caraga Region, Barm Region, and the Cordillera Region. So the small regions dyan na kailangan po talaga ng suporta would be CAR, Barm, Region 13, and Region 2. Sila po yung what we classify as small regional offices. So obviously, the smaller, the more support they need. Then of course, our medium-sized regions na tinamaan po dyan is Region 1, Region 5, and Region 7. And a large region would be NCR. The regions na hindi nakalagay dyan, napagbigyan po ang kanilang MOE, hindi po nabawasan ng MOE nila. But unfortunately for these regions, sila for some reason nabawasan ng MOE despite the fact that these are performing regions po. So for consideration of the body, ang nabawasan po na budget sa kanila is 31.853 million pesos. Sa ISSP naman po, ang natanggal ng mga recurring expenses namin was 61.085 million pesos. So almost 100 million po ang for the consideration of the body to be restored as a priority. We also have other priorities here. Next slide. Ito, sa building structures naman po, if there are congresspersons who are willing to also take a look at the building needs ng mga regions na ito, hopefully the congresspersons representing these regions might be kind enough also to find ways and means to support these regions in terms of their capital outlay. Region 2, Region 3, Region 7, Region 8, Region 10, Region 11, Region 12, Region 13, and BARM. I'd like to appeal for BARM, particularly because this building in BARM is specifically the one in Lanao Sur. Congress previously gave a budget for the Lanao Sur building in BARM, but for some reason or another, hindi po siya nagamit, so na-revert. Some problem with the land. This was before my watch, before the present commission pa. So now I am trying to ask for another support from Congress for Lanao Sur, because nag-expect po ang mga taga Lanao Sur na magawa na po yung building na yan. Kasi nga, na-budget siya before, but because of some land issues, hindi natuloy. So if there's anything there that's that specially needs support from Congress, it's the building in Lanao Sur. So yun lamang po. Thank you for giving us the time to propose our budget for 2024. And again, on behalf of the entire CSC who is with me right now, we have our commissioners, our assistant commissioners, directors who are here from the different process owners or offices of the central office, and some representatives from our regional offices are here asking humbly for the support of Congress for the 2024 budget ng Civil Service Commission. At kung maaari po ay madagdagan pa po. Maraming salamat, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Chairman Carlo Nograles, for that very detailed and brief budget briefing. Just shows how good you are, especially being the former chairman of the appropriations in the, I think it's 7th Congress. So now, may I remind first our colleagues. First reminder, I have two reminders. First one is we are in the Nograles Hall, named after the former speaker, Boy Nograles, the father of former Congressman Carlo Nograles. He's a very good friend of my father also. No, so just a reminder that Attorney Carlo Nograles is a very well respected member of the House of Representatives. So let us give him let's be nice. Okay. And and we will try to restore the 100 million and maybe more. And alam ko tuturuan mo kami kung paano, being the former chairman of the appropriations. And may remind our distinguished colleagues that each member is given 5 minutes for questioning or interpellation, excluding the response of the resource person. And when you hear the bell sound, that's the bell sound. It means you only have 30 seconds to wind up your question. As part of a long-standing and respected tradition of the House of Representatives to accord preferential treatment to the minority members of the House, and followed by the majority members in an alternating manner. So now the chair recognizes from the minority, Assistant Minority Leader Marisa Del Mar Magsino. You have the floor, ma'am.
Good morning, Mr. Chair. Thank you so much. First of all, I would like to say I'm so happy that the Civil Service Commission is in the hands of a very good man, Secretary Carlo Nograles. And naunahan lang po ako, may Chair Arnie, very good friend natin si Speaker Nograles. And true to the word na talagang former appropriation chairman si Sec Carlo, kaya napakaganda, very comprehensive and organized ang presentation. I salute you for that. Commissioner Lisada, Commissioner Acosta, sa inyo pong lahat, magandang umaga to my fellow colleagues. This is only a clarification. Part of the constitutional mandate of the Civil Service Commission is to promulgate rules and procedures on the administrative disciplinary cases and other matters of civil servants. These procedures are embodied in the revised rules in administrative cases in the civil service. Budget-wise, this function of the Commission is embodied in its Administrative Justice Program. The program has two performance indicators. One is the percentage of the cases decided from the number of cases filed or the resolution rate, and two, the percentage of promulgated cases decided within 1 year from filing or the disposition rate. In 2022, the Administrative Justice Program had a budget of 150,741,000, and it registered a resolution rate of 73.11% and a disposition rate of 88.44%. For 2023, the program has a budget of 161,823,000, or an increase of 7%, and the target rates are 60% resolution rate and 75% disposition rate. Since 2023 is the current year, no actual figures are yet available. My question is, what is the projection of the Commission on would-be actual rates for 2023 at this point, and that we are already in the third quarter of the year? Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Chairman Nograles.
Yes, actually, we are projected to reach our rates resolution. We're looking for the slides lang po. We're projected to reach our rates for resolution and disposition rates. Again, so as of first semester 2023, for admin cases, so nasa 56.57% po kami for first semester of 2023 sa administrative case disposition rate, or what we know as the promulgation rate. And then for the case resolution rate, nasa 88.09%. So this is over the target of 75%. So itong admin case disposition rate, bagamat wala pa kami sa 60%, we're very confident naman po na ma-hit namin ang target. And I say this because historically, we've always hit those targets.
Mr. Chair, thank you for that. May I, Mr. Chair?
Just proceed.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that, Sec Nograles. Now, however, for 2024, the target rates have been lowered to 40% resolution rate and 70% disposition rate, despite the fact that the proposed budget for the program has been further increased to 170,312,000. For me, this budget still very low and very reasonable, and I would be asking for more budget. But what is the reason behind the lower targets of resolution and disposition rates in administrative cases compared to the previous years, despite a higher budget allocation for 2024? Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
Chairman Nograles.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. That's actually a very good question. And the answer is it's not apples to apples, Mr. Chair, because what you saw na promulgation or disposition rate at sa nakita niyong resolution rate, na we are being measured na may 60%, iba, at 70%. iba po yung pag-compute noon eh. So there was a discussion between DBM and CSE on the proper way of computing that. So since we came into an agreement na ito yung mas gustong paraan ng DBM for computing that, kaya yun po yung bagong indicator natin for 2024. So it's not the same way for computation. So because we are using now a new method for computing based sa gusto ng DBM, then 2024 will be a baseline year for the new computation. So hindi mo pwedeng sabihin na bumaba siya, na bagamat o nga naman, pag tinignan mo at first glance mukhang ba't bumaba to 40%, kayang-kaya niyo naman pala yung 60%. It's just a matter of computation. So as with the practice ng DBM, because this is a new computation, 2024 will be our baseline year. Nilagay mo na sa 40%. We're very confident that we'll hit those targets. And then, because it's the baseline year, saka mag-adjust the years after that.
Yes.
Thank you, Secretary. Mr. Chair, I would like also to say that I'm very satisfied, and it's just how the DBM had computed it, and it's well respected. Now, I would just like to say regarding the BARM that whatever we can do to help with my colleagues regarding the building for the BARM, because they need it very badly, and definitely will be supporting all the way the Civil Service Commission. Why? Because it's the most quiet, less controversial, most well-led department. Civil Service Commission, ipagpatuloy nyo lang po, keep up the good work, and OFW Party List will be behind you all the way. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you, Congresswoman Magsino. Now, we have from the majority, Deputy Majority Leader Wilder Y. Palma. You have the floor, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair, but I would like to give way to my friend, to our friend, the Honorable Franz Castro, and then after her, I'll with the permission of the chair, would that be
Yes,
okay, sir?
I will grant it.
Okay,
So
thank
I'd
you.
like to recognize Deputy Minority Leader, thank you, ma'am. Castro, Franz Castro. You have the floor, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Pasensya na po kasi meron din kasabay ito, DSWD. At mukhang nakalista rin kami. Okay, tatlong sabay-sabay ito. Anyway,
Buti na lang.
marami sana
Ang
akong
pwede ka
tanong.
na mauna doon.
Anyway, nagpapasalamat po ako sa ating colleague, former colleague, Carlo Nograles. Kasi hindi siya nagre-request na hindi siya tanungin or hindi siya masalang. So, yun po yung hinahangaan ko kay kay Carlo. Very malumanay, very efficient. Okay, so yung kanyang report. Anyway, ito meron akong tanong kasi sumulat po ako sa inyo noong August 7. Pero hanggang ngayon wala po akong natatanggap na sagot. Ang hinahanap ko doon yung total number of government employees per salary grade 2022 to 2024, total number of workers under contract of service, job orders, salary nila for 2022 to 2024, total number of workers employed by the GOCC, total number of workers employed covered by 10149, total number of government employees hired by the LGU aggregated. Well, mahalaga sa atin to, Mr. Chair, Chairman Nograles, kasi pinag-aaralan namin ngayon ni Congressman Migs Nograles, yung salary standardization law, and we would like to find out ano yung budgetary, Mr. Chair, yung budgetary requirement. Kasi merong panukalang batas si Congresswoman Nograles and Congressman DS Recto. So mahalaga sa kinatawan na ito yung SSL. Kasi last tranche na ng SSL 5 ngayong 2023. At we have to have plan for that, no? Yung increase ng salary ng ating mga government employees. At alam ko rin, it is also a concern of our Civil Service Commission. So, kailan ko kaya ma-expect yung data na hinihingi ko? That was August 7 pa po. Doon po sa OCH nograles.cscgov.ph, doon namin po pinadala. Okay? Mr. Chair.
Chairman,
Yes.
you're directed to
Yes, of course we will
So,
respond. Just to assure the Honorable Castro, Mr. Chair, that when we receive the email, we immediately endorse it to our process owner, and meaning process owner inside the central office. So they're working out the reply for my signature. But we
Okay,
will
so
immediately
Is
within the week.
it received kasi wala namang acknowledgement po.
We acknowledge for
Mm.
for consideration po ng with due respect po to the Honorable Castro. It was an email po kasi. So
Yeah.
based on our email record, but
you have
just
to
to
make sure
assure-
na pumasok lang po yung email. No?
just to assure the sorry, hindi na-acknowledge but na-endorse po namin. But we will acknowledge immediately. In fact, we are acknowledging now.
Yes,
But
okay.
formally, we will send you an email that pasensya na po, na-endorse naman po namin but hindi lang namin na-acknowledge yung email.
Yes, thank you. May kinalaman din yan, Mr. Chair, doon sa, syempre doon sa mga unfilled position na gusto na nating makita at gusto rin nating syempre na ma-fill up yung mga positions na yon. Kaya kinukuha namin itong data na yon at pinag-aaralan natin. So, yung last budget season, Mr. Chair, tinanong ko yung joint circular number 2. At nandito yung COA at saka yung DBM. It pertains to the JOCOS. Okay? Pero sabi ay ni-re-invite ang CSC para dito sa joint circular na to. Kasi ang nakalagay dyan, COA and DBM lang. So may I know the update po kung kayo po ay na-re-invite dito para mag-join doon sa Joint Circular number 2, series of 2020.
Chairman Nograles?
Yes, Mr. Chair. In the previous budget hearing, I think the situation there was whether or not, kasi may ano yan 'di ba? May prescribed time, 'di ba?
Mm-mm.
'Di ba po? And then yung nag-decide ang DBM to extend to 2024 December 2024. So that as far as CSC knows, yun lang po yung information na nakuha namin, that it has been extended to December 2024 as far as JOs and COS is concerned.
So
As regards yung kung meron ba kaming formal invitation,
Hindi natin yung jurisdiction. Wala tayo.
Mr. Chair, because the situation is that it's still under we feel that it's still under the jurisdiction ng COA at DBM, and because that has been the practice already, we felt it should still belong with COA and the DBM. Yung jurisdiction ng JOs and COS. And then kami sa CSC, we will only be consulted about our position, if ever, on the matter.
yes, so hindi rin pala kayo na re-invite kasi yun yung dating pinag-usapan natin doon sa last budget hearing. But anyway, ilan na po ba yung mga na-absorb na mga JOs and COS sa plantilla position since that time?
Chairman
Wala.
Nograles?
Yeah, Mr. Chair. Yes, Mr. Chair. Wala kaming ready data on that.
Okay.
We cannot do.
So,
we
May
know
I just us the data in preparation for the plenary, Mr. Chair.
We will endeavor.
Yes,
to-
and even before the plenary, let's get the data. Let's kindly give it to the secretariat
Yes, Mr. Chair.
and give it to Franz Castro. Also,
Yes,
Franz Castro. Thank you, Chairman.
Yes, next, Mr. Chair, yung percentage related to the unions natin. So, you have here your sub-program, public sector union sub-program. I noticed bakit parang mas malaki yung number of accredited PSU with CNA as with the accredited public sector unions. Kasi nakalagay dito, public sector unions accredited 1,222. Pero yung number of accredited PSU with CNA is 1,353. Parang hindi normal po sa akin yung ganon. Baka baliktad. Ano po ba yung rationale doon? Bakit ganon po?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Double accounting lang. Sila yung words.
Kasama yung renewal.
Nasa sa
So, Mr. Chair, just so that we're on the same page, no, based on our data po kasi, ang registered na PSEOs natin as of June 30 is 2,007. Ang accredited na PSEO po natin is 1,378. And ang registered CNAs po natin is 791.
Okay. 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 So, I think that's that with sense. Kasi
Kindly wind up. You have 30 seconds.
agency doon sa, mas maraming accredited doon sa number of agencies. So, I think the number makes sense sa akin. Overall, ilan po ba yung mga agencies?
2,787 po.
2,787. So, meron pa po tayong mga 700 na mga agency na wala pang unions.
So that's your last question?
Ay, yes.
Franz Castro.
Last na to, Mr. Chair. I'm
Thank you.
wrapping up.
Yes, pero Mr. Chair, if I may, kami naman po, the Civil Service Commission through our HRRO, we obviously would want na mas marami ang magre-register. In fact, mabilis po kami mag-approve, mabilis po kami mag-sign because as fast as we can get it out, as fast as we can approve and sign, we do it kasi nga we want to encourage nga more PSEOs to register and even be accredited.
Yes, last na to, Mr. Chair. So, ang point ko lang po, how do the civil service encourage more workers in the government to form their unions? Alam niyo po, Mr. Chair, sa experience po natin sa Department of Education, instead na ma-encourage ang mga teachers to form organizations, may mga harassment, coercion, pananakot sa Department of Education at mga delays, no? Mga delays ng mga CNA negotiation. Kaya yun yung nagiging problema. So siguro, Mr. Chair, hingan ko na lang yung civil service ng plano how to encourage pa yung more than 780 and siguro, Mr. Chair, makikipag-dialogue na lang siguro ako personally sa civil service as regard dun sa mga teachers union. Kung pwede po ba, Mr. Chair?
Yes. Yes, Mr. Chair, of course, we're willing to sit down with the Honorable Castro to discuss ways moving forward. But I just like to assure the Honorable Chair, the Honorable Committee, that the CSE, through our HRRO, we regularly conduct po mga symposium, talks, discussions, and or even orientations, no, para po to encourage through our public sector union symposium. Meron din po kaming ganyan. Then of course, kung may mga complaints, alam naman po natin ng civil service has the contact center ng bayan. They can lodge their complaints there. And we even have the PSLMC as a mechanism. Kung meron pong mga reklamo about, yun nga, mga harassment, nadadaan naman po natin dun sa mekanismo ng Public Sector Labor Management Council.
So yun na lang po, no? Tuloy ko na lang, Mr. Chair, yung data nila. Ilan yung mga seminars na kinonduct ng CSC sa DepEd, including teachers and principals po. Thank
Yeah.
you.
We'll
Kindly
provide,
submit
Mr.
the data to the Secretariat to be given to Honorable Castro. Thank you, Honorable Castro. Next, we have from the majority, Deputy Majority Leader Wilter Y. Palma. I
Thank you,
recognize, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good morning, fellow workers in government. I was reviewing your budget. The budget is 2.060. Am I correct?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Yes. Personal services is 1.4. Sa ano niyan? Is this for the civil service employees alone?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
How about, how many employees do we have? Chair. When we count my, excluding their answer,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Okay.
Sa
For the civil service employees alone, from region 1 to the last region.
if you're talking about the civil servants in the entire bureaucracy po, it's 1.9 million. If the question, Mr. Chair, is how many sa civil service employees, ang empleyado po ng Civil Service Commission ay nasa 1,400 plus po.
1,400.
Plus. So, kinalculate ko na naman po yan, Mr. Chair, sa dami ng government agencies that we have, because we take care of local government units, we take care of local water districts, SUCs, GOCCs, national government
no problem.
agencies. Ang ratio po ng technical person or staff ng civil service to a government agency is 1:3. One civil service technical employee takes care of 3 government agencies, not persons. Agencies po. So, ganun po kalawak ang inaalagaan ng CSC despite the fact na konti lang po kami.
Okay, thank you. The 1.9, that's for the entire bureaucracy, right? These are all regular employees. The 1.9. I presume,
Plantilla, yes po.
how many of them, how many unfilled position out of the 1.9 million?
So the number of vacancies as of June 30, 2023, kasama ang national government agency, GOCCs, SUCs, local water districts, and local government units, 204,054.
204.
204,000.
204,000. That's unfilled position, Mr. Chair.
Vacancies po, yes.
Yes.
Yeah, meaning to say unfilled.
Yes.
May we know why? Because we keep on saying we have to create jobs, and here we are among the bureaucracy itself. We have 204,000 unfilled position.
Of course, per head of agency, they have to, alam naman po nila that before they hire a person, they have to publish it. They have to, there has to be applicants, it has to be open, has to be published. They apply, it goes through the process. And we leave it up to the heads of agencies to be able, and their respective HRs, to fill those positions. So yun nga po, ang field po natin, field position is 1.751975, but ang vacant is 204,054.
Is, Mr. Chair, is this for this year lang or talagang problema na yan ever since?
This is as of June 30, 2023.
I'm asking, is this for current year 2023, 2022, or matagal ng problema yan? Unfilled position.
Well, there's always been that challenge, no, na may mga unfilled positions pa rin po. Especially during perhaps the change of administration after election, things like that can factor in also po. Kasi remember, this also includes local government units po.
But my records will show that matagal ang problema. What can the civil service do about this in order to fill in the gap? Pwede ba ma-sanction yung mga departments?
Wala kaming, ang pinaka-power po for sanctioning ng Civil Service Commission is indirect contempt, but we don't really use that unless halimbawa hindi sila sumusunod sa pag nagdesisyon may desisyon ang civil service, halimbawa na itong tao na to was illegally terminated or dapat ay ibalik siya with back wages tapos hindi ginagawa ng head of agency, indirect contempt po kami. But as far as filling up positions are concerned, we can only nudge. One of the mechanisms that we do for nudging is yung sa Prime HRM. Yung Prime HRM is the way for the Civil Service Commission to check on the maturity level ng ating mga HR offices nationwide. Another way, which is pending here in Congress po, I hope maipasa, is the mandatory creation of HR MOs. Kasi po, pag nagkaroon po ng mandatory creation of HR MOs, we are more confident na may permanency in all the local government units, magkaroon ng permanency po ng HRM officer doon sa lahat ng local government units, mas may chance po tayo na maka-fill in tayo ng mga positions sa vacant responsibly as far as local government units is concerned. So, pag yan po ay naipasa ng Kongreso, Mr. Chair, malaking bagay po yun. I'm confident na makaka-fill up po tayo ng mga vacant positions, especially sa local government units.
Yeah, the 1.9, I think this is for the national government, excluding local government unit. Am I correct? Lahat?
That's all.
Including local government unit?
Yes.
The 1.9?
Yes.
Okay. For example, the number one example that I'm always DOH, 20,000 vacancy, unfilled position. Bakit na di ba fill upan? Tapos palagi tayo nang sumisigaw, we need more jobs, and here you are. How do we address this, Mr. Chair?
Naman nagralis.
Well, again, Mr. Chair, we go back to the fact na it really depends on the agency and the head of agency, number one. Ang civil service po can only nudge, can only review through mechanisms like the Prime HRM. Kasi pag nagpapa-Prime HRM po yung agency sa amin, nire-review namin ang lahat ng aspeto ng HR, including nakikita namin na may mga vacancies pa sila in their unfilled positions pa sila. So doon po makakapasok ang CSC by nudging them na kung gusto niyo mas mataas ang maturity level, then you need to be able to fill up these vacancies. You need to do the publication nito. You have to pass through these processes para mas tumaas yung assessment namin sa inyo.
Mr. Chair, for academic purposes, Chairman Nograles, would it be safe that if you let fill up the position, can the department use that allocated amount for whatever purpose, MOE, whatever it is?
Clarification, it
Sa
parang savings ba yung
pagkakaalam ko po, that if you're
Chairman Nograles?
Mr. Chair, as I know it, before nung nasa APRO pa ako, ang alam ko ang ginagawa ng DBM, pag may mga unfilled positions ka, hindi nila agad binibigay yung PS mo. Bibigay lang sila ng certain percentage ng PS sa iyo for unfilled position. I forget what the percentage is now. I don't know what the practice of DBM is now. But sa time ko po, ganun ang ginagawa ng DBM. Makita nila may mga vacancies ka sa iyong opisina, they will not release all the PS to you. They will release the PS to you sa mga field mo, sa unfilled mo, they will only release a certain percentage. So I don't know, perhaps DBM is still doing that. Again, I think the rationale behind that is para hindi i-abuse ng agency ang pagkuha ng PS, hindi mo nila i-fill up, tapos gagamitin for other items. As far as CSE is concerned, we obviously frown on that. We frown on that, and I think DBM frowns on that as well. That you will use PS for other, because for PS is only for PS. You cannot shift PS to MOE. You cannot shift PS to anything else but PS. Now, kung may gagawa ng ganun, may technical yan, makukuha yan.
That will be considered as savings once it is released and spent. Under the Constitution, the President may realign within the department. Anyway, that's I'll just go back to the Constitution. Okay. Section 7 says that unless otherwise allowed by law or by the primary functions of his position, no appointed official shall hold any other office or employment in the government or any subdivision agency whatsoever. Can I, because, you know, there are multitasking ngayon. Ano bang? Can you please, being a lawyer, alam natin yan.
Chairman Nograles?
Well, yes, Mr. Chair. So what is the question, Mr. Chair? Because the law is very clear.
Yeah.
So
So what's happening with us now? There are employees or officials in the government that are multitasking with the other agency and so on, receiving salaries or not salaries, allowances and so on and so forth, honorarium whatsoever. Pero shall hold any other office. Yung kasi ano dun eh,
Is allowed. Transfer is.
Mr. Chair, siguro mas maybe a more detailed example because as far as we know, as far as we are concerned, bawal po 'yan. Bawal to get double compensation. Iba naman po siguro kung kunyari you're holding a position tapos binibigyan ka ng as an ex officio member, then you're not, as long as you're not receiving double compensation, then there's nothing really being violated there. If for instance may ibang assignment na or responsibilities pong binibigay sa inyo, as long as you're not so siguro a more detailed example, Mr. Chair, so that
sir, pag walang complaint, wala rin.
pero ano yung
Pero nakikita natin sa media. Ngayon may mga island labor.
siguro Mr. Chair, kung may reklamo,
Yes.
dalhin na sa amin. And then because we cannot I cannot suppose or presume ano yung particular case.
Yeah, I hope you will revisit the Constitution. No, We are in the legal profession, I know. Pero I will not labor the civil service kasi medyo sensitive issue ito. I'll talk to you personally.
Okay.
Anyway, sir, Mr. Chair, if I may oras po ba?
Yes, please proceed.
I was looking at your capital outlay and so on and so forth. Parang nakalimutan ata ang Region 9.
Ibig sabihin po, Mr. Chair, na
Okay kami.
okay ang allocation.
Can I ask you something for and my behalf of my region?
Of course, Mr. Chair.
For example, we need mobilization. How can they monitor the entire Zamboanga Peninsula pag wala tayong mobility na magagamit? Can we ask for vehicle for that matter? Kasi kawawa yung mga taga-civil. Meron sila isa for the regional office. Meron isa sa Zamboanga del Norte which is an
Can
old
you wrap up?
car.
That's the last question.
Yeah, okay. Anyway, Mr.
Chairman
Chair, I will
Morales.
not, please
Just-
consider na,
Just
I will not pressure you here. Siguro, during our plenary, you can already answer me and pwede mo na kung sultian ng kunin mo, pwede na.
yeah, yes,
This
Mr.
is for, no, this is not for my own, but it is for the sake of our civil service employees na monitoring all the Zamboanga Peninsula. Kawawa. Nagsakay lang sila rural, Mr. Chair.
Chairman Nograles.
So thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair, for giving me the time and opportunity.
Thank you, Congressman Palma. Would you
Ah.
like to answer Chairman Nograles for the last question? Kung may kotse na sa inyo, swerte kayo, sa iba wala.
Okay, so Mr. Chair, last year sa budget defense, pag-approve ng budget for this year, nagkaroon po ng approval ng capital outlay for the refleeting ng civil service. Hindi ko alam bakit, Mr. Chair, pero unfortunately, hindi na isama ang Region 9 sa refleeting. So baka kung gusto ng Kongreso, dagdagan yung capital outlay namin for refleeting, then we will include Region 9. But for some reason, hindi nasama sa refleeting ang Region 9.
Anyway, Mr. Chair, I just
Thank
want to share to you, si Kong Sharky nag-text sa ako, yun siya. Kong Chairman Nograles is a friend of mine. So, alam mo na.
Okay. Thank you, Congressman Palma.
Thank you. Mr. Chair, with your permission, I'm going to attend the DSWD as well as the other because we lack manpower right now, warm bodies, because we end up 11:30 na siguro kagabi.
Yeah.
So with your permission, Mr. Chair, I'll,
Yes.
thank you.
Thank you, Congressman Palma.
Mr. Chair, if I may,
Yes,
si
Chairman Nograles.
Commissioner Lizada will be going to Zamboanga, Sibugay next month.
Yes.
Next month.
Kulangan niyo po ba ng
Movie
pagkain, tulugan?
Magko-courtesy
Sasakyan.
call daw siya kay. Magko-courtesy call daw siya kay.
Congressman Palma po bala sa inyo. Okay. Yeah, but may mga staff po si Congressman Palma can take care of you. Yes. Pumunta po kayo sa Kamsur, ma'am. Akong bahala sa inyo.
Magdala kayo.
May laing Bicol Express pa. Yeah. So next from the minority, I call Representative Manuel. Okay, he's not around. From the majority, isa pong urago nito. From Sorsogon, Representative Wowo Fortes, you're recognized.
Good morning. Thank you, Committee Chair, and good morning to the Civil Service CSC Chairman. Yeah, let's give time for the Congressman of Zamboanga Sibugay to send his pleasantries to the
Para
After.
nangangampanya.
Again, thank you, Committee Chair, and good morning to the Chair of the CSE. Distinguished natin daming chairs ngayon. Especially the chairs present are descendants of notable speakers of the House. Nograles and Fentibella, lahat yan naging speaker ang mga descendants to ng mga matitindi dito sa Kongreso. Anyway, I will be nice as guided by the speaker. I'm only to seek guidance, especially advised ako ng Chief of Staff ko who has been the staff of former congressman and now Civil Service Chair. Si Attorney Paras is now my Chief of Staff. Seeking guidance lang kasi maraming tanong po ang mga LGUs regarding the CSE resolution number 2200-373 on the OSS pattern of the LGUs. Subsequently, after the CSE resolution was issued, MC number 12, series of 2022 was issued. Notable sa resolution, there was made mention of the Garcia Mandanas ruling and the subsequent issuance of EO 138, which involves full devolution of certain functions of the executive. Ang nagiging controversy ngayon, I'll go straight, is the Section 5 of the Civil Service Resolution, which is embodied in also Section 5 of MC 12. LGU shall create mandatory positions. It may create optional positions, provided that all mandatory positions shall have been created. There is recognition in the Mandanas, full devolution, meaningful autonomy, ang binibigay sa mga LGU. But then restricted sila dito in their design, in the creation of the OSSP sa mandatory positions. If you look at the mandatory positions, meron dito, because of these special laws created, Municipal, Agricultural, and Biosystems Engineer, which is not a priority. Most of the LGUs, hindi nila priority, especially ang mga 4th, 5th class municipalities. But then they are restricted. I have talked to certain LGUs. They wanted to create, especially LGUs in the Eastern Seaboard, laging tinatamaan ng bagyo. They wanted to create assistant MDRRMO to complement disaster. Hindi sila pinapayagan because you have not yet created the mandatory position of a municipal agricultural and biosystems engineer, which is not a priority. Ang sabi naman ng law ng ng local government code, the priority of the local chief executive and the sanggunian has to be considered. Ang priority ng LCE and the sanggunian is particularly an assistant MDRRMO. Hindi sila makapag-create because civil service is asking mandatory na ang municipal agricultural and biosystems engineer. But consider, a municipal agriculturist is an optional position. Tapos ngayon ang municipal agricultural and biosystems engineer mandatory. There seems to be lack of cohesiveness in the policy direction of the civil service brought about by these two issuances. So naguguluhan ngayon ang mga LCEs. We need guidance from you. I'm taking this opportunity kasi seldom do we have this na kausap natin ang civil service. I mean, Commissioner Lizada, Commissioner Acosta, and the chairman himself is here together with the other assistant commissioners. Probably we can address this because all LGUs are really confronted with this. Nahihirapan po sila, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Actually, this is a very important, it's a good question. But I will premise my answer, Mr. Chair, on the fact that we are bound to follow what Congress gives us. So those are, ang issuances namin are based on law, particularly 7160 Local Government Code. At yung na-mention po ninyo na mga positions na seemingly some LGUs are feel that they do not require it, those are based on special laws passed by Congress. So unless Congress change those and make them optional and not mandatory, then CSE is just bound to follow what Congress passes into law. So yun po yung sagot, Mr. Chair. Ang issuance namin is based on law and the law comes from Congress. So sumusunod lang po kami sa Kongreso.
Thank you, Mr.
So your
Chair.
last question?
Yes. Ang tanong ko lang kasi, provided that all mandatory positions shall have been created, is a policy of the civil service. It's not found in the local government code. It's not found in any other law. Baka pwedeng baguhin ito.
Mr. Chair, sa 7160 kasi nakalagay shall.
Yes, but previously, Mr. Chair, marami kasing na-create na like
Kindly wind up.
Menro, HRMO, MSWD, optionals to. Na-create ito even wala pa sila ng tourism officer, wala pa sila ng other position. Like, nagawa na to. Nagkagulo lang nung 2022 nung nag-issue nito with the word provided that all mandatory positions shall have been created. Before, nakapagawa naman sila nun eh. Ngayon, restricted na.
Mr. Chair, we promise the good congressman, Mr. Chair, that we will do another review. We'll do another round of review. We will identify ano yung mga mandatory based on 7160 and based on special laws, and we will report to the good congressman kung ano yung sa study namin.
Thank you very much. That
Thank
is
you.
very assuring. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Thank you
you.
for the opportunity.
Yes. And if you have more questions, you can do the second round.
Now
We
I'm
can
good.
allow you.
May commitment na si chairman na and you told us to be nice.
Yes. Takot kasi ako nasa Nograles all time. Mobultuin tayo ni Speaker Boy Nogi. So, for the next interpolator, I call Vice Chair Angelo Gil Mungalon.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning to the civil service family and of course to Chairman Carlo Nograles. Mr. Chair, I just would like to ask our chairman, isn't it that it's part of the mandate of the Civil Service Commission is for you to conduct examination conferring various eligibilities, correct? Okay, so
Correct.
I just would like to raise this concern, Mr. Chair, because in the Bicol region, before I proceed to that matter, may I know, Mr. Chairman, from our good chairman of the civil service, is if how much is the budget for the conduct of the civil service examination for 2024?
For 2024, what was assigned to us by DBM, if the NEP will be passed into law, is 4 million pesos po. But that's from DBM, but as we all know, many of the other expenses yan, sinushoulder ng CSE.
All right. So when we speak of examination, this is not just limited to the pen and paper test examination, correct? And we have the so-called computer examination, correct?
Yes, correct.
So I raised that matter, Mr. Chairman, because in the Bicol region, and my seatmate here is the representative for the Partido area, we do not have that so-called computer examination. No, I was informed by our regional director that what we have in the Bicol region is the so-called pen and paper test. And if I'm not mistaken, Mr. Chair, the conduct of examination is just twice a year. No. And given the data, we have, based on the DBM data as of 2020, I don't know if this is the updated one, we have 190,000 unfilled positions in the government. And one of the factors attributed to it is there are applicants that are not eligible to fill up the vacancies. So with that, I would like to address this concern, Mr. Chair, that Bicolanos are deprived of this kind of program of the civil service because they have to wait very long because they have to wait for the pen and paper test. Now, Mr. Chair, the computer examination, assuming that it will be fully operational in the Bicol region, the expected conduct of examinations shall be 3 times a week, 2 for professional level and 1 for sub-professional level. So the existing 20 COMEX units available can accommodate an average of 240 examinees per month or 2,880 additional examinees per year. So this significant number will give more Bicolanos the opportunity to be employed in the public sector. So may we ask for a commitment, no, for the civil service. Hopefully we can address this concern. Maganda naman pong internet connection sa amin, Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have basically the three answers to the question. First is there was an issue kasi sa local server ng Region 5 which has already been fixed based on what we know from Airpo. So that being said, hopefully we will be able to put that COMEX up and running soon. Number 2, there are plans of establishing a new regional office in Region 5. And I was informed yesterday that mukhang may papasok naman daw po sa budget ng DPWH ang budget na kinakailangan para ma-construct po yung building ng Region 5. So that's very, very good news kasi po pag na-establish na yung building na yan, we will be able to expand yung COMEX ng Region 5, number 2. Number 3, I'd like to report to the committee din po na we, in fact, not just for Region 5, but then for the entire Philippines, we in this new commission have expanded the number of slots for exams at an unprecedented rate. As I mentioned earlier, kung titingnan po natin yung actual examinees po natin over the years, no? Just like to run through these numbers. In 2016, 3 exam, pero ang actual examinees is 381,000. 2017, 2 exam, 385,000. In 2018, 3 exams, 446,000. 2019, 2 exam, 455,000. 2020, walang exam dahil COVID. 2021, dahil may COVID pa, 13,000 lang po ang examinees. 2022, medyo post-COVID na, 3 exams po, 284,000. You look at 2023, isang exam pa lang nagagawa namin. Ang next exam namin this coming Sunday, August 20. But in 1 exam alone, naka 331,860 na kami sa 1 exam alone. Kung ganun din po ang number ng examinees sa Sunday, tatama na po kami sa 600 plus thousand examinees for 2023 alone. So under this new commission, we have expanded the number of examinees. Kaya nga po yung bagong target namin is 500,000, and that's why I'm saying that's a high number, but we are confident that we will reach that number for 2024, even beyond. Over and above that, itong bagong commission po are now we're in the process of expanding our COMEX using digital solutions. So much so na ang gusto po namin mangyari, hindi lang 3 times a week ang COMEX. Gagawin namin every day, Monday to Friday. Pag nakakuha po kami ng IS provider. ng provider who can deliver the solution that we want. And the solution that we want, Mr. Chair, is tulad ng ginagawa sa bar exams. There are providers that you bring your own laptop. The provider will download the exam to your laptop at this certain day, at this certain time. You answer the exam using your laptop. May specifications ng laptop na kailangan mo. Pero ang importante lang doon, Mr. Chair, ay magandang internet. But if we can provide the good internet, we can provide the place. The ideal situation na gusto ng commission is that you come into the COMEX room with your own laptop according to the specs at 8 o'clock a.m. on a Monday. i-download yung exam sa laptop mo, you take the exam, and on the same day, you will know whether or not you pass or fail, not needing to wait for the next pen and paper exam. Again, it's an ideal, but we need the budget.
Thank you, Chairman Nograles. I'll just interject regarding sa Region 5, no? Kasi alam ko magpapatayo ng building sa Albay. Papatayo pa lang next year. Ngayon po, Chairman, I will notify you, may building na po kami. Sa partido, pwede tayo magmowa. Kung gusto nyo, pati kuryente, sagot pa po namin. Diba? Uunahan ko na po itong mga Tagalbay para po ilagay na po natin sa Camsur. But you can inspect, no? In Tigaon, the Partido Development Administration building. Malaki po yun in Camsur. And ang DSWD po, naglagay na po ng sub-office doon. May MOA lang po kami. So government to government, napakadali po nito. Kaya kung ano pang design na gusto yung building gagawin ko, unahan ko lang po yung mga Tagalbay. So yan.
Ang galing talaga na itong kasama ko eh. Anyway, yes, thank you, Chairman Carlo, because we really appreciate your efforts and in advancing and helping our Filipino people to become eligible and to have an opportunity to work in the government. Now, my next, this is just a manifestation, Mr. Chair, that a while ago, the good chair mentioned that there is a need to pass a law with regard to the mandatory creation of the HRMO. And in fact, I already filed that House Bill, Mr. Chair, for the information of the Civil Service Commission, House Bill number 7378. Yours truly is the sponsor of that. And hopefully, that bill will now be tackled in the committee level. So I fully support and commend, and therefore I also I will ask Congressman Zaldi as the chairman of the Committee on Appropriations to move for the increase of the budget of the Civil Service Commission. Thank you.
Thank you, Congressman Bungalon. Si Congressman Bungalon po, first termer, pero napakasipag at napakagaling. At for your information, bagong kasal po ito. So sinasabay-sabay niya po yan yung trabaho, pamilya. Ganyan po kagaling ang ating congressman from Albay. Sabi ko, wala na po, Oragon po yan. Pero yung building, meron na po kami. Just a reminder lang. So next, we call on Representative Mark Go. Not around. Okay. Representative Salvador Plato. Ang swerte natin. Kasabay ang DSWD. And Deputy Majority Leader Marilyn Agabas. Actually, she left, but she wanted to extend her gratitude to Chairman Carlo Nograles and Assistant Commissioner Burgos. Inutusan po talaga ako. Takot po ako doon kay ma'am. So I had to say it. Thank you very much for helping her constituents. Okay. And I would like to acknowledge also the presence of Congressman Journey Jeff Nisay from Pusong Pinoy. He will not ask any question, but he's here to support you. Okay, support the CSC. So since
Mr.
wala
Chairman.
na kung gusto magtanong.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
hindi na ako nagpalista. Sana bigyan lang ako ng time ni Secretary.
Yes, no,
May concern
definitely.
lang ako.
Definitely. We will do it after this one. Okay. So is there a motion to terminate?
Mr. Chair, I move that we terminate the budget briefing of the Civil Service Commission. I so move, Mr. Chair.
There's a motion to terminate, seconded by
Second.
and there's no objection. The motion is carried. So the briefing is suspended until 3 p.m. this afternoon. Thank you. Chairman, picture tayo doon.